Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever the hell you are. I am Luna fucking Rose, and this is Recovery in the Raw. This is a platform where real recovery addicts share their experience, strength, and hope. We feature one or more speakers' story within a month, sometimes more, if I'm feeling good. Graphic language is permitted. In the meantime, I encourage you to leave your comments. Although I am not affiliated with NA or any other 12-step fellowship, approved literature is permitted. Just remember, this is your recovery in the raw. If you want to speak, I would love to hear your story. Or if you would like to donate, please send either request to recovery in the raw, all lowercase, 2050 at gmail.com. Thank you and many blessings. And let's get this show on the road, family. Today I have Mark T from Kentucky. Um, Mark, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us your clean time?
Sure. My name is Mark Dengate, and I am um, I've been in solid active recovery since March the 4th of 2025.
Yeah, so tell me, give me a little brief description of your childhood, your parents, the way they were, how they acted, how they treated you.
I grew up in an home that of a Christian background. Both of my parents were Wesleyan Methodist ministers. Um, so obviously I grew up as a preacher's kid. It was a home that was relatively strict, but not overly like how some homes are that are of the nature. I had a rough time with public schools. I had been moved to a lot of private schools growing up, Bible schools predominantly. Well, actually, three that I can name off the top of my head right now. One in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, another one Ada, Missouri, and no, that was two. Two that I can think of at the top of my head.
How was your teenage life?
Uh, like any other, really, in the long run. It sucked a lot at times.
Do you have any like traumatic instances from your childhood to your teenage years that you want to share or not share?
Uh,
Something sticks with you, you know?
well, hmm, I deal with a lot of PTSD issues, major depression issues, anxiety issues, but and that was because when I grew up as a child, um, I've been molested several times. Uh, yeah, that sucked. But I,
I'm terribly sorry to hear that,
well,
you know.
it's life, and I've just,
Most of us can relate.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, you know.
you know what?
Not by my family or anything like that. Let me be clear.
Right, but no, but now that
But
I'm older, though, they say that you gain wisdom as that you get older, and now that I'm older, though, I'm not begrudging any of those experiences because even those experiences, as bad and horrible as that they were, um, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't have the strengths that I have
So
today.
what caused you to start your drug use? What did you think the reason was, a justifiable reason for why you would pick up?
Well,
Even though there isn't one, but let's hear it.
on and off, uh, for years, I had, smoked weed, drank on and off for years. Uh, Not really drinking to the excess, except on occasion. And I'm not one for throwing up and having them hangovers and all that. So I've tried to watch, you know, the amount that I drank. As soon as I got to where towards the last, as soon as I felt it, I'd put it down. But now it's been, I don't know, 2.5, maybe 3 years, since my last drink, since I had a drink of anything, including beer, whatever. And then let's see. Back in 2000 to 2001, I want to say, I think I had got involved with methamphetamine for my first time there in Long Beach, California. Of course, it would be Cali. uh, and I would get it in my system any way possible to get it in my system for a solid year. Never had any legal consequences at that time. But I did go into rehab after about a year of the use. And the only reason being why I went into rehab, I didn't go into rehab for the drug use. I went in because I lost my place because of the drug use. And so I checked myself in for 90 days. So as I'd have a roof over my
What
head or
drugs
whatever.
did you get into and why? How?
Well, at that time it was methamphetamine.
What
And
started you
so
on that? What started you on that? What was your first time with that?
that was back in 2000.
Yeah.
And like I said, I did that for a year and got checked myself into rehab. But then when I got out of rehab, I just didn't have a desire for it. It was gone. I didn't go back to using until like about, let's say like about 4.5 years ago. I went back to it, but now I had already explained. I had already experienced, um, you know, shooting it up, and I swore I'm down to myself that this time around I was gonna inject it, and I stayed true to that, surprisingly enough. But towards the last, as a matter of fact, the last that I had got, I had 2 syringes ready to go, and I was getting ready to shoot it. And then that's when I got caught by the legal system the second time around. And so I have to say I'm glad that it came to the point to the head where it came to. I haven't done it yet since March the 4th of 2025. I haven't relapsed back to it or anything. I've been stating I've been free from it so far. I'm having trouble hearing you.
Shoot, my bad.
I
What made you find recovery?
getting sick and tired of being in a legal system. This is my second time around. The first time around, it was 2 years of probation, and I was looking for every loophole in every way possible
Did
to
you ever do
continue to
jail or
use and
prison
relapse.
time?
Huh?
Did you ever do jail or prison time?
I did jail time, but the first time around, no, it was only for what, an overnighter in jail. Gave me a little slap on the wrist. This time around, As of March the 4th, I was arrested and I was in jail for 17 days. During that time period, that 17 days, I swore I'm down. I'm done. I had enough. Well, the guys in jail didn't believe me, but that's all right because I sure as hell convinced myself that I was done. And then did 5.5 months of 5.5 months of IOP. And I did initially it was weekly drug screens, and then it turned into biweekly drug screens. For the exception of my very first drug screen, which tested up for THC, all other drug screens thereafter.
Explain to everyone what IOP is.
Okay. It is an in and outpatient. And what it is it's not rehab, but it is a form of rehabilitation. You learn to you learn about cognitive behaviors, cognitive disorders. You learn if you just sit there and listen and actually let yourself learn, it is quite beneficial because you pick up tools to continue in recovery. Uh, PHP, I've done that. You see, the first 2 years around that I was in recovery, I've done IOP, PHP, rehab, back to PHP again, IOP. But even PHP, when I was doing PHP, I forget what the term is, but it's patient hospitalization, something or another, I guess. But I was still outpatient at that time, but it was 6 weeks and it was every single day I had to go there to Recovery Works, and I had to walk there. It would take me an easy half an hour to walk there and walk home, and I had to do it every single day. Well, I did the same thing with the IOP too as well. But if you do inpatient, they house you. But I didn't want to be housed because I was working at the time, and I wanted to keep my job, and I wanted to have it to where that I'd have access to my animal. And but this time around, though, when I did the outpatient treatment through North Key here in Covington, I let the system work. Before I was trying to work the system, the 2 years I was on probation. Now I'm on 3 years of probation. Now I'm allowing the system to work for me, and there's a big difference. Because when you try to work the system, you're going to stay in active addiction. But if you let the system work for you, and you go according to the guidelines that's set before you, and you do what you have to do in recovery, then it can work.
That's correct. Do you have a sponsor and work the steps? And if anyone hears a squeaky toy in the back, it's my dog. So,
Okay,
anyway,
right,
do you have a sponsor? Have you been working the steps?
right. So I, I want to say this, that everyone's recovery is their own recovery. If I want to say it like this, because I am in no way discouraging having a sponsor or working the steps. I'm in no way discouraging that at all whatsoever. Uh, hmm. Myself,
Um,
no, myself, no. In relationship to your question, I don't
And
have a
you
sponsor,
and you've
and
not worked the steps yet.
and I'm not actively working the steps per se as step one, two, three, four, five. Um, but however, step one definitely kicked in right away because I had to be truthful and admit to myself that I was powerless over my addiction and that uh and I needed to seek and get help. And that's where IOP came in. That's where these virtual online meetings come in. But it has to first start with willingness. And that's where it began with me.
Can you
Then,
think what your life might be like if you worked the steps?
uh, honestly, I don't know because right now, where I'm at right now, as far as my active recovery, where I'm at right now, I'm content on how things are going because the will, the want, and the desire for me to want to use it's definitely gone. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't creep up in mind every now and then. As a matter of fact, it creeped up in mind yesterday. It creeps up in mind out all kinds of times. But even still yet though, even with the person that's working the steps and has a sponsor, they still deal with the same thing anyway. It still creeps up in mind. But the
Sure,
you,
sure, but for me, like
exactly,
for
yeah.
me, for me, having a sponsor and working the steps for me, your
Hmm.
recovery is your recovery, right? I can't tell
Exactly,
you any,
yeah.
I can't tell you any different, but
Exactly.
for
I
me,
won't discourage.
it's a program of action, and me
Mm,
having a sponsor and working the steps helps me be held accountable for my
mm,
actions. You know what I mean?
mm,
So that's why I think it's really, really, it's really encouraged that people do this in order to see the magic happen in the program. Not saying you
mm,
haven't. Not saying you haven't seen it, but to experience it is
mm.
one thing. To see it is
I had a
another.
sponsor before. I have had a sponsor before. When I got
Okay.
out of recovery, no, I mean when I got out of rehab that first time around that I mentioned, yeah, I had a sponsor. Didn't do me a lick of good.
All
Uh,
right. Is it because
he
the
took me to
sponsor?
church. He didn't go through the steps or anything with me. Uh,
Okay. Well, just because there's
so
one bad apple doesn't mean the
there is.
whole bunch is spoiled. You know what
Mm,
I mean? So doesn't mean
yeah.
that you can't find you another sponsor at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I just don't really have a desire for it right now at this time. I'm not speaking about later on down the road because
I accept that. I accept
I
that.
had, I mean, it's like therapists. I got, I quit going to therapy and I quit going to go see a psychologist and all this other stuff that I was doing because I had to keep reliving all those experiences all over again. Well, when you get a sponsor and then your sponsor decides they don't want to sponsor you anymore, or they or you decide to drop them or whatever, then when you get another sponsor, a new one, then you have to go back all throughout all those life experiences again and start all the step work again,
Well,
do
I
the
do want to
program
say
all
each
over again.
sponsor. I want to do say that each sponsor is different. I mean,
Yeah.
if you have the knowledge of recovery already, they
Mm.
might work with you on what steps that they think that you need to do. Doesn't mean that necessarily you have to start them all over again every time you find a new sponsor, because that just isn't the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I guess that's the way it's supposed to be with therapy too, or whatever. But I've all I've ended up being the therapist to the therapist.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
that
I was like,
happens.
I was like, if 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 I'm if I'm going to be a therapist to the therapist, why even bother? And I My focus isn't it isn't on using. That's a lot now. That's the farthest thing on my mind now at this point. It took me a while to get to this point. Well, first off, it had to start off with people, places, and things. Then next is the honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. And willingness being there first. If you're not willing to do something, you're not going to do it. You can have a sponsor and you can be working the steps, you can do all this stuff. But if you're not willing to put it down and go through other avenues besides using, you're gonna be an active addict, having a sponsor and working this. There's all kinds of people that's got a sponsor and working the steps and not and all this and still in active addiction.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're going to have that in any kind of congregation or anywhere you go,
Exactly.
essentially. So, I mean,
Hmm.
like I said, a few bad apples doesn't spoil the whole bunch.
Yeah,
Um, and, it happens. It happens. But,
it does.
I guess so long as you are finding a piece of serenity within yourself, doing
Hmm.
what you're doing, that's
I
all
am.
that fucking matters. That's all that matters.
Hmm. I do meditations. I I do, and and I I get my mind off. I whenever the thought comes to mind or whatever, I preoccupy my mind with somebody with something else. As far as accountability is concerned, they're Mark and Debbie upstairs. They're great. They're great. They're great people. And when I was first off in recovery, as far as I was concerned, they were my accountability because I'd be like, okay, I'm going to the store and I'm going to be gone for such and time period, or I'm going here, or I going there, or 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 I went like one time uh I rode by the guy's house that I used to get my drugs from on my scooter on the way to get tobacco and shit. And Debbie did not like that at all. She tore me a new ass almost uh for enough for it. But I was like, well, wait a minute, no, he was arrested. He's not there anymore. Well, why did you go there anyway in the first place? And I was like, well, he was my friend, and but I was just gonna go there and talk. But things have a way of working out though, whether if it be God, if it be the universe, however you want to put it. When it comes time that you are in the cusp of your life, there's going to be changes that's going to take place. And it doesn't necessarily have to be anything that you said or done. But when it comes time for change, change will take place. And that's what it was with me. Everybody and anybody that I had gotten that stuff from or whatever, the whole bunch of them's been arrested or whatever, or moved, whatever. So all the avenues that I had to be able to go get it or whatever are gone. As a matter of fact, the last guy around, I just watched him get arrested only about a month and a half ago with somebody else that I didn't even know. But both of them got arrested. And I watched that. I saw him in the back of the patrol car. I did a jail tracker look up on him, but I couldn't find well, he was Hispanic. So and the only thing I knew him by was Roberto. So that but I couldn't find anything concerning him, but I've not seen him since. Nor am I going to at this point because he, from what I hadn't gathered, he had a pretty good amount on him. Whether if he was selling or not, I don't know, but he had a pretty decent little amount on him, obviously. But I'm not begrudging anything where I'm at today. I don't know. I don't even want to go out and look for it. I don't even want it in my life anymore because I know how harmful it is and how detrimental it is. And
It's like breaking up with a toxic ex.
mm, actually, actually a good point because it actually really is. Um, Before addiction, I knew what kind of person I was and what where my life was. And actually, before my addiction that I had, it wasn't a bad life. I was responsible. I had jobs. I could hold down a job, and I got into active addiction, and that part of me died. Well, then all of a sudden, now I come back into recovery and true recovery, and work
New
with my job now.
possibilities are,
And now I had to die. That had to die, and I had to kill that out all over again. So I actually had died twice per
well,
se.
when you get clean, new possibilities arise, lost dreams awaken,
Oh, it's
you know?
awesome. Yeah, it is. My thinking is clearer. I'm able to reason. Uh, I'm able to uh, I'm able to remember things that I otherwise had not been able to remember. Now there are things that I mean, even still yet today to this day, there's a couple of instances I cannot remember for nothing that I mean it's totally wiped. It's gone from my memory. Uh, but it wasn't they weren't making anything major, but it's just there were things that transpired that was brought to my attention, and I have no remembrance of it at all whatsoever. It's gone. But however, right now though, I remember what no, I remember one day to the next, 1 minute to the next. I remember what I did yesterday and the week before. I remember what I did 10 minutes ago. And but that I can't say that that's how I was when I was in active addiction. But I can say that that's how it is for today. I
Where do
don't
you
miss
see yourself? Where do you see yourself in about, let's say, 2 years?
for one off of probation. Thank God. Well, that won't be till 2028.
And what are you on probation for?
Possession of controlled substance, which was methamphetamine, and
Okay.
but that but um I got a good probation officer though. I like her. Not everybody can say that. That's for sure.
I had one before and I liked her, so.
Okay, cool. So, but yeah, there. I think what it is if you work if you do what you're told and you don't violate and you pass the drug screens and you do what you got to do to stay clean. They know it. They can tell. They know. And when you go into the probation officer, don't I mean when you go into the probation office, don't think that there's not a camera there and that they're not looking at everybody that's sitting there waiting to be seen. They know. They they see you sitting there and what you're doing and what your reactions are. And they look at those cameras before they even call you back in the back office. And if you don't show up for your probation one day, then you call and reschedule. Don't think you're not going to get a drug screen. You're going to get a drug screen because that happened to me. But it was clean. It took me a while to produce it. It took me about 2.5 hours. But yeah, I know. It didn't take so long because I thought I was dirty. No, I knew I was clean. It just took a while. But she was patient and she let me have the time that I needed though to be able to do what I had to do. But it's a big difference, when you uh when you know that you got a drug screen and you know that you're clean versus having a drug, knowing you're
Well,
getting ready to do a drug screen and you know you're going to be violating.
I have to say too, not so much as I mean, yeah, of course the UA, absolutely, that feels good. Um, but you know, when you're driving down the road and you see a cop, your asshole doesn't tighten up anymore. You know what I mean? Because I used to drive, I
Yep.
used to drive down,
Mhm.
you know, the street or whatever, and you know, I'd see a cop, my asshole would tighten up, and you couldn't fit a piece of paper through anything. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Well, I'll tell you what. Living here where I live at, you might as well say I live in a freaking small ass town. Even for as high a population as what there is here in Covington in this area. But the cops know me as being an addict. And
Sure.
but and that and but now, you know, I mean that was not what was it, about a week ago? They was driving through the alley, and I was on my way to Ameristop, and I saw him, and I talked to him for a few minutes, and I didn't mind letting him know, that I was on probation and what I was doing. I think I brought it up about um the guy getting arrested because it was right there, right in the alley where he got arrested at. And I let him know, well, at least that's an avenue, where I don't even have to go get it anymore, kind of thing. Had a little chat, and I went to the Ameristop, got what I had to do, and took care of my business. But you know, it um it actually really surprised me, that he did get caught, because he always kept it down, kept his drugs down or whatever. He didn't have a whole lot of people. Well, towards the last there, he must have really got out of control there towards the last there,
Well, we
because
never really have it under control when we're using.
exactly, because he definitely he definitely got on the radar. The
Of
cops
course,
were
you get
coming.
sloppy. You get sloppy.
Yeah, you do. That overconfidence, and I think that's what it was. He thought he got to a point where he probably thought that he was untouchable, and that's where you do get to the point of, as an addict. I did too. Well,
Pride gets in the
I
way
thought so
too.
too. I thought I was clear and free, and that I was gonna be all right. Just bring my drugs home, and didn't do my drugs at home, and then I'll go out and about or whatever. But I just happened to make that purchase, and I jaywalked across the street, and that's all it took. So you never know. All it takes is just the slightest little mistake.
Well, you know, can you say that you being in meetings and going to meetings and stuff like that has kept you off the street?
It most certainly has. Yes, it has. The Now I've been doing NA virtual meetings. I have not been doing in-person meetings, but the NA virtual meetings have been very beneficial. That's why I was doing them so often there for a while. Yeah, every now and then I'll give myself a break. But if I know I need a meeting, and my body's got a way of telling me I need a meeting, my mind's got a way of telling me I need it. I go in. I don't regret. I mean, shoot, that I do have a home group now. Potentially, I might have me a secondary home group. But I mean, thank God for these NA virtual meetings, because I mean, you go in at any given time, 24/7. Anytime you need a meeting, you go, you can find a room. Sundays is a little difficult, but predominantly just about any time you need a meeting, though, you can find one.
That is correct.
Uh,
They also
I,
have 24/7, like you said, 24/7 hour meetings.
yeah, well, they're not. There's, as a matter of fact, the one word, it doesn't necessarily have to be the virtual NA. There is a 24/7 site that they do have. You might go in the middle of a meeting or something like that, maybe even the tail end, but just wait and catch in on the next one because it does run 24/7.
Yeah. So, what would you say to a newcomer coming in?
Okay, hang in there. Don't give up. It's a struggle. Continue on with the struggles. Do what you got to do to stay clean. If you're willing to do it, you can do it. Get help. Get information. Uh, Stop going to the same places that you've been going to. I'm going to say this right first off. Stop going to those people. Stay away from them. You got the telephone numbers, get rid of the telephone numbers. You got the email addresses, get rid of the email addresses. You got them on your messenger, your Snap, any social media, get them off your social media. If you're serious about recovery and you're serious about killing yourself and putting your family, your loved ones, your friends through what they have to deal with you, and you're ready to stop. This is when that's where I say to a newcomer, somebody that's in the first time of recovery, like what was discussed earlier, as far as the sponsor is concerned, do that. Get you a sponsor. Do that. Work the steps. I'm not against it by any stretch of the means. If that's what you need, you then do it.
Right, correct.
By every stretch of the means, do it. If you need help, because there's people that's in that's in active recovery, that's been in active recovery for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and they'll be more than happy to sponsor you and work you through the steps or whatever.
Right, right. And
Hmm.
that's good advice. Good advice, Mark.
Hmm.
Um, what kind of things do you like to do to occupy your mind?
I like to read. Um, I've got my animal, like you got your dog. I've got my cat, and I pay him a lot of attention. I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of different season shows, movies.
You love your computer, right? You like to do a lot of shit on
Yep.
your
Play computer games. Yep. Yep.
and do you think all these things they help lessen the urge to use?
Yeah. And then when I go out and about, I go out when I go out to take care of business. In other words, I go out to go to the store, come right back home. Go out, go to different places, where I can pick up, like be concerned or whatever. Not take care of what I got to, come right straight back home. Uh every now and then I'll go out for a walk, but I don't go back to the same places where I used to use. I stay away from those places. Now I come right straight back home.
Would you say you have a
Exercise,
boring?
you
Would you
know.
say you have a boring life because of recovery? Because a lot
No,
of people think, yeah,
right.
good, good.
No, no, but not by any
Do
stretch
you
of.
think you have a better life?
Yes, because I am financially responsible. Unlike before, when I was in active recovery, I didn't have a penny to my name, literally, because every red cent that I made or whatever it did. It went for drugs. Everything that I made, everything. Now,
How do you feel now? How do you feel now that you can save money and
well, I've got money held back here at the house where I'm at. My cat needed a vet because he has conjunctivitis in his right eye, and so I was able to pull money out that I have saved here at the house and give it to the vet after he was finished. And I still have money. I still got money to fall back on.
how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel great that, I take care of my animal, take care of my needs and my necessities. Uh, and yeah, and still have funds to fall back on. Hell, you know, uh, I'm able to smoke. It don't cost me much because I make my own cigarettes. And hell, even the people upstairs, they they make more than I do on their retirement. They make more than I do, and still yet though they're broke. Not it's not even the middle of the month and they go broke. But me, hell, I make them cigarettes, and I help them or whatever. But when they when they get paid, they pay me back, on tobacco and tubes and stuff, and or hell, I help them get what $35 worth of groceries just the other day, last week. But they're gonna reimburse me, when they get their when they get paid, this you know for but but I but when I was in active addiction, I wouldn't be able to do any of this, to help somebody else. Because when you're in active addiction, it is all about what I want, and it's not about anybody else or wanting to help anybody else when they're down and out.
Do you think you're more yourself now than you've ever been?
Oh yeah, definitely. I I'm not there yet though. I'm not I'm not there.
Do you think you could be better?
Yeah. Uh I can there's always room for improvement.
That's right.
Always room for improvement. As soon as when a person gets to the point where they think they know it all, or gets to the point where that there's no more room for improvement, uh, if those aren't telltale warning signs, I don't know what is. Because I have not arrived. I most certainly don't know it all, and
Let
I'm
me
not.
ask you something.
I'm learning every day something new and different, even about
Are the
myself.
drugs the are the drugs the problem or is it you?
You can't blame the substance. It was always myself that was always the problem. I was always the issue with myself,
How important is that understanding that?
because unless if a person is willing to change, they're not going to be able to make the change. You have to know. You have to know and be true to yourself. It says, "To thine own self be true."
Yeah, it does say that. Um, have you ever been to any brick and mortar meetings, in person meetings?
What was it?
Have you ever been to any in person meetings?
Oh, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I have,
What do you
and
think the difference is? What do you think the difference is from in person meetings to Zoom meetings?
well, the issue is here locally in the area is there's an establishment that I used to go to, and I'm a cohort member of his Life Learning Center, The problem is with that place, though, is that the lady that's running it, she has been the cause of employees leaving the place. She is the reason being why I no longer want to attend there. I don't need to go into that. The reason being, but I had attended there since 2022 and up to about 5 or 6 months ago. I'm done with the place. I'm done with it. But in there though, they had what they do have smart meetings, but smart recovery. But I don't even attend the place anymore. I'm done with that place. The only thing else that's around here is pretty much Alcoholics Anonymous. And I don't relate to Alcoholics Anonymous. Smart Recovery was a type of meeting that was based on the science of recovery. That's what Smart Recovery is. And so me, it didn't do me a lick of good because it did not go into the heart of what my personal addiction was at the time. What is actually going into the heart of my addiction are these online meetings that I've been doing, the virtual NA meetings, because I relate to the people that I'm in the rooms with, and they relate with me. And that makes a big difference, you know. And when you find a home group, you pretty well find yourself a family. Uh, it's you don't know what people do on the other side of the camera. Okay, I'm going to give that. You don't know what their lives are on the other side of the
That's
camera.
anywhere and everywhere.
It is everywhere and anywhere, and even the brick and mortar meetings, just like you just mentioned. You know, you cannot
Look, people are
rely
gonna
on
people no matter what. Okay,
exactly. You have
you're
to.
gonna have your Karens, you're gonna have your Johns, you're gonna have your Mikes,
Yes.
you're gonna have your whatever the fuck.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And even you got that, even it's sad to say, but you even got that in the churches too as well. You got
Well, yeah,
people
like I
that,
said, it's in any
mhm.
congregation.
Yep, yep,
You know, it
in any
doesn't
group
matter.
setting.
It's not the congregation that's at fault. It's the people within.
Yeah.
And some of them will never see it. They'll never get it.
Hmm.
And
But but that but but all I know is I can't answer for somebody else, but I can definitely answer for myself because I'm the
that's
one that's got
right.
to live with me in the long run.
That's true. We can't we can't go cleaning someone else's garden if ours is a shit show.
Mm, that is true. All at the same time, too, though, you got to go through the fire. You got to go through hell to help somebody else out of the same hell that you've been through yourself. And
True.
like I said, it takes one addict that knows another addict to be able to help another addict.
And the therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without parallel.
It really is, and that's one of your favorite sayings too.
It is. It
I know
is.
you.
That and progress, not perfection.
Yep, there's your other one too. Yep. But I mean, really though, those are no, those are two that hang on to. Those are two really really good points.
Well, I think a lot of the stuff in the literature, for me, I've adhered more to the Blue Book than I ever did the Bible, and that's just me personally.
Yeah. Um. But what whether if it's the Bible or whether if it's a basic text or if it's a rule book or whatever the source is, you want to that's the source for your personal build up of your well-being. And if that's what you need to get to the point where that you're to that spiritual part of you, because this I do believe is that we are made up of a makeup of three parts: our physical shell, our body, our soul, and our spirit. And
Are
the
you talking
strongest
about like
part of
body,
our
mind, and spirit?
yeah, and the strongest part of ourselves is our spirit. Our body only functions only what our mind tells our body what how to function. Even our
Okay.
organs, and every cell, our whole DNA makeup is
Well,
run by our mind. Our
we're
heart
all made
runs
up
by
of
our mind.
we're all made up of one thing
Hmm.
that's found throughout the universe is matter.
Yeah, yeah, and it talks about spiritual principles. It talks about um um spiritual avenues for recovery. If you don't have anything spiritual that's going on, you're not going to be able to work recovery, because recovery is a spiritual program, and it's a spiritual thing. It's spirit. Um, it is. It's spiritual, and that's all I can say. It is. And like I said, if you need a Bible, or if you need a blue basic text, the blue book, if you need you know, whatever, no, whatever it takes to get to have that spiritual awareness to be able to continue in recovery, do it. Whatever you got to do. Personally myself, um, I have um I know what I know the Bible. I know what it says, and I know what the spiritual principles are. That's from Genesis to Revelations, and even a few of the books of the Apocryphal. Even the book of Japheth. Japheth, but J is spelled with the Y, pronounced with the Y. Japheth. Uh, and uh, and you know other books or whatever.
Um, Let me see here. Uh, how how do you keep yourself in active recovery every day? Do you reach out to people like a network, or have you
Hmm.
created a network for yourself?
Hmm. Yeah, actually, I think I have. Because the really the only people I really have to do and um do with on a face to face, it's really like Mark and Debbie. Mark and Debbie. Of course, I'm not gonna mention who the other person is, but there's another person that lives here in the house, and I used to, I used to have to do with him, but things aren't going along so well as far as he's concerned, or whatever. So I'm just I'm just letting him do him. Yeah.
Do you reach out to people in NA at all?
Well, I got you guys. I've got
Yeah.
that. This is my network. As far as as far as my home group is concerned, my virtual home group. You guys reach out to me every now and then. I reach out to you guys every now and then. Um, and
So let me say this
yeah,
in closing.
okay.
It says no, we don't have to use ever again. you know, ever again. Um, but I do want to stress one point, or I'm going to ask you a question rather. Do you think that people are not prone to relapse?
Oh, well, all of us are all prone to relapse.
There you go.
And the reason being for that is because we are all prone to want to change how that we feel. We don't like when we you, you see when we feel miserable or feel unhappy, feel like that we're in pain, whether about whether that be physical pain, that be mental pain, whether that be spiritual pain, then if we cannot find an avenue through any other source or whatever, that one thing that made us feel like that we were feeling okay would be to go back into that relapse, to change how that we feel. But the thing is, though, that it's just that temporary. I'm not looking for a temporary fix. And so the best thing to do, one, and this is advice that my mother, one of my last mother's advices. When you don't know what to do, do nothing. And that really does hold true because when you try to
You're saying that
overthink
it
things,
is.
people's got a tendency to overthink things. People's got a tendency to want to fix something that isn't broken. Look at Microsoft, for instance. They're all the time fixing something that ain't broke and then break it. No,
Yeah.
no, really though, but that's what we do though. That's what people do. Everybody wants to fix something that ain't broken, or or there's a lot of confusion that's in this world, especially with the world events. There's a lot of fear, and a lot of uncertainty. Um, the last thing a person should do is live in fear. Of course, we got and overcome fear with love. First love yourself, because if you don't love yourself or get to that point that you can love someone, I mean love yourself, you're not going to get to the point where that you're going to be able to love somebody else, because we do ultimately treat people how that we treat ourselves.
Yes. You are 100% correct. And, again, with ending, I just want to say thank you very much for giving me the time. We've hit our hour mark, believe it or not. So, again, thank you for your time, your experience, strength, and hope throughout the program,
Thank you too.
and how you manage your recovery. Um, but many blessings to you and good luck. And I'm going to go ahead and start or stop this real quick. Give me a second.